Ding ding, connect the dots. Welcome to another edition of Connect the Dot, a podcast that brings people from various walks of life to talk to us about their journey through whatever they do. And at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is to build resilience, mindfulness, and be able to cater for people's mental health too at the end of the day, because a lot is going on with us around the world. Irrespective of wherever you are now, we've seen the devastation with the Turkey, Syria earthquake magnitude of 7.8, and the way it's devastating the whole world because people need to take aid materials to these countries. Over 40,000 people died through this course. So we're all about building people's mental health too and making sure they prioritize themselves, self-love before any other thing. And today we're together with a journalist extraordinaire that's been in this business for a while, and she's doing a lot. She's an award-winning journalist, newscaster. I'm sure she's got a lot going on with her, and would like to explore that and be able to use that as a kind of measure to encourage younger people, especially from northern Nigeria, to join the career path and be able to balance life and every other thing in between. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Hello there. It's great to meet you.
It's really great to meet you in person. Like, it's been, I look at you, I'm like, oh, I love what you do. I really love us to meet in person, and alhamdulillah, today it's come to fruition. Yeah, finally. If I'm right. The name is Zainab Bala, Mrs. And she currently works with the BBC English service. I don't know if she's still with Daily Trust, but we'll get into that in the course of the program. Welcome again to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this career path we've chosen for ourselves, especially being people from northern parts of the country, culture, religion, a lot of times we are kind of restricted in a certain way that you're not able to really put much more into your career the way someone from the other parts of the country would do, because people will say you're overzealous or too ambitious and you won't be able to keep a family or something like that.
Right.
Where did you start this career path from? I'm sure you studied mass communication.
Right, I did. Well, for me, it's a bit tricky because I would say when I was growing up, what I liked about TV was I usually see women looking all nice, speaking fluent English, and it was great for me. At that point, I thought that journalism was just about, speaking good English
and looking good
on TV, and all of that. And then as time went on, this is going to be very funny. I wanted to study theatre arts.
Oh, okay.
But my parents, and we're Muslims and all of that, they didn't want me to do that.
Absolutely.
And then with time I said, okay, what do I do? This is what I just wanted to do, something that has to do with the creative industry.
Okay.
And I wanted to do performing arts, and then my parents said no. I said, okay, so what else? I said, okay, maybe I should twerk a bit and then maybe do journalism. But my main aim was to do journalism because I knew they speak well and then they looked good on TV. But it was when I started my course at the Nigerian Television Authority College in Jos, TV College. And then with time, I realized that journalism is not just about speaking good English
and the good look
and looking good on TV. It was more about public service, and then giving back to your community,
society.
Exactly. And then over time, I picked interest in a particular sphere of journalism, which is human interest storytelling, because I could connect more with those kind of stories and feel like, okay, what if I was in this situation? What would happen to me? And these kind of people do not get the attention that they need, on TV, on mainstream media. The people that you see are either politicians or the rich
people doing well.
Exactly. But the people that are affected by some of these issues do not get to be on TV. Telling people about their stories, about their hardships, and then what they're going through, and then demanding accountability from government. And so I picked interest in that. I went in to do my industrial attachment with the NTA here in Abuja. It was very difficult.
Definitely, or
very, very difficult. They didn't allow you to do anything much. Basically, what we did was go buy food and then buy recharge cards.
It's usually like that.
and all of those things. But regardless of that challenge and that barrier, I feel if we have passion for the
job,
job that we want to do, regardless of that, we'll always find a way, to make it work.
True, yeah.
And so after that, I did my NYC at Gotel TV in Yola.
Yeah.
And for me, that was the beginning of
the
my
whole
career.
thing, the journey.
Yeah, that was the beginning of my journey, because at that place, I got to explore a lot. I was given the opportunity to do so much more. But there's a scenario I'll never forget till today. And as I grow, I always remember that and use that, as a pillar for me to do better.
Right.
The first day I was supposed to go on air, there was a lady. She came from the south, I think. And then, I know you've come across this as well. And this is going to make me a bit emotional. You come across that as well. When people see the way you dress as a Muslim, and then particularly when you say you're from the north, there's this stereotype.
Yeah, it's just the normal thing. Yeah,
there's this stereotype that people do. And what she said to me was, are you the one that's going to read the news? And then I looked at her and she said, yes. Really? How is it that you're the one that is supposed to read the news? And it felt like, okay, you do not have
what it takes.
Yeah, you do not have what it takes to be on TV.
Wow.
And it gave me chills, and I was like, okay, so this is everywhere. We always face this when you go to different parts of the country. And it's very sad for me.
It is.
But at the same time, for me, I think...
an eye-opener.
Exactly. So I feel it's a boost for us, to do better and continue to explore, other ways to make our careers better and for our communities as well. Yeah.
So that means you started out at TV college to NT and went to Gotel.
Yeah.
After Gotel, what next? Quickly before we go into further details, after Gotel, you studied mass communications in Nigeria.
Yeah.
What uni? And you know that again, the way our system works, apparently there were some daunting challenges you faced while you were studying. Was there anything like that?
Yeah, there was, the normal being a lady in a university system kind of challenge. It's sad, but I think at this point I'm very glad and very confident to say it. At some point in school, I couldn't graduate with the kind of grades I wanted, and this was because of the whole sex for grades challenge that you face in school. And it was something I was willing to sacrifice because this person told me that, okay, Zainab, like they say in Hausa, like Sabukari over is supposed to meet me in so place. I was like, okay, really, is that what you want? She said yes. I was like, okay, let's just leave it at that. And behold, I had so many carryovers. I had to rewrite some of the papers, and all of that. And I graduated with a 2.2. I didn't want to graduate like that.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, sometimes I look back and say, examination, as people say, is not
a true test of knowledge. Yeah.
And so I think it came as an inspiration for me to do better and to explore and to get to the place that I am today, and I'm very glad that all of those things
Alhamdulillah for the progress. I think we've all in one way or the other been discriminated against, maybe because of the way we appear or where we're from, or because of some certain interest of some people in our lives, like the sex for great thing. But alhamdulillah that our parent gave us this tarbiyah, and we know that there is the line that we should never cross. And alhamdulillah, that's where we are, why we're where we are today. Alhamdulillah. So going to the other places that you've worked, I think we've heard about the brief experience with the challenge at the Gotel and other places. And after Gotel, what next?
After Gotel, I was serving in Gotel, and then when I finished my NYC and then I got back home, I was like, okay, where do I go next? And I remembered my experience with the NTA. I had so many offers to work with NTA, but I didn't want to go there because of the nature of the environment.
No challenges.
Yeah, for me, I would say also that NTA it's a Nigerian TV station, but it's a bit toxic.
It is.
Yeah, to work.
The environment, NTA. That's what I get from a lot of people.
Yeah, and I didn't want to face that. I wanted to have a new challenge and just work towards my passion, and then just let it be like that. And then I waited. then somebody reached out to me that I worked with in Gotel, and then he said they're going to be opening a new private TV station here in Abuja. It was owned. It's owned by Namdas. I think he's a member, House of Representatives. And so I started. I was not paid for about 3 months or so.
Usually.
I just started as a volunteer, and then as time went on, I started getting paid, peanuts and all that. So,
absolutely.
But what pushed me was because I loved the job.
And
absolutely. It was not just about
my first
money.
job was 40,000 naira in Abuja, so I just knew that. Well, it's the passion that is the drive. Yeah,
exactly. It was not just about money, but I wanted more, at least just grow your career as a person that I know subsequently in the future the money will come.
Definitely.
And so I started working with them. I worked with them for about, let's say, I think 5 years.
5?
Yeah, for 5 years, I think. And then I did a story about the Almajiri system of education. And then what prompted me to do that story was there are these set of children that come around our house every Friday. They wear green uniforms, and then they come in massive numbers. So when
looking for food.
Yeah, so when you see them like going out, and be like, they come every Friday. And then one day I just picked interest, and then I asked one of them, where are you guys coming from? And then they said their school is around Dawaki, so they come to Gwarimpa every Friday. And then some of them walk all the way from Dawaki to Gwarimpa. And then they look for food, and some of them have to take these food
crumbs
back to their malams.
Oh my goodness, that's a reality, sad one.
Really, really very sad. And then I decided one day that, okay, let me follow one of these boys. And then we went, and then fortunately for me, what I saw was very devastating. I saw some of these boys in chains that they don't want them to go out, and then tortured. And I said, is it okay to have an interview with you, with the Malam? Because I think from his own point of view, he didn't see that was
wrong.
And so I came, and then we did that story. It was stalling for so long, but I was so connected to that story that I just wanted to do that story. And then when I did the story, eventually there was an opening with the International Center for Journalists on storytelling, and then I submitted the story. I never knew I was going to be selected as the winner. That was in 2021.
Okay.
And then I got the email for that, and it was supposed to travel to the US, spend 3 months, and then work with either Al Jazeera or The Economist and all of that. And it was an experience for me that changed the shape of my career.
Absolutely.
Since getting that award, I've had so many opportunities to apply for grants, and then to do certain projects, as well. And I think that was what other people saw. And then Daily Trust, when they were opening their TV, reached out to me.
You.
Yeah. And they said they wanted me to be on the team, and all of that. And I was excited because I see Daily Trust as the voice of the North. And so I didn't hesitate. I just wanted to,
be part of the team.
Be part of that team. And then that was how I moved to
the Daily Trust.
But unfortunately, I had to leave.
How long were you there for?
It was just about 2 years. I didn't stay.
Still, you tried. You've contributed your quota.
Yeah,
we always want to move towards the topmost part of the ladder of success, and it's because of the kind of work we put in.
Absolutely.
If you don't put the work, you wouldn't get there. So I'm super glad that you've climbed to that point. And higher, inshallah. Someday we'll be like, oh, this is our question among for our time. Inshallah. So with this, we'll go on a quick short break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back, and we're taking a message from Hanana Nigeria Limited. Ding ding, welcome back. It's still Connect the Dot, and we're talking to Mrs. Zainab Bala. I would not want to overhype because I know that she's doing a lot, and I'm super grateful that women in Northern Nigeria are doing this for the upcoming generation, because it's really daunting for us to be in this career path and be able to stay afloat at the same time. But yeah, the job is demanding. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, so now let's go into other places. We've spoken about where you've worked, and we've gotten to the point that unfortunately you had to leave the Daily Trust and Trust TV. Yeah. So now to BBC. I'm sure that you just hired this role.
Yes.
How is it going, and what was the process that got you to that point?
Well, I'd say it's going really well. I've just been with them for about, let's say, 2 months.
Okay.
So I'm still trying to learn to navigate how they work, and how they do their stuff over there. Well, for me, the role was, I think I believe that I got in because I saw the opening. I was just scrolling social media, and then I saw the opening
as usual.
And I was like, okay, let me try this and see if it works. I didn't have a show reel. I'm very lazy when it comes to putting out things like that.
Yeah.
So I had to do one, and then I just submitted. And then I was driving home one day, and then I saw the email. You've been invited for an interview, blah, blah, blah. It was in Lagos. And I was with Trust TV. How can I leave my work and then travel? I was on a weekday. I didn't know how to navigate that. And then I requested to do a virtual interview, and then they said no. Because I have to audition, and all of that. And then I had to move down to Lagos, and then we did an interview. And then I was like, okay, well, if I get it, fine. If I don't, just life goes on.
Life goes on. We always try.
Yeah. And then I think a week later, they sent me an email that I've gotten the role. They would like me to resume so dates, and I was excited and sad at the same time
because you started building something at Trust.
Building something at Trust, and Lagos and Abuja are two different places.
Absolutely.
And it was somewhere different from
the hustle and bustle in Lagos is not meant for faint mind person.
Home is north.
Exactly.
To that part of the country, but I took it as a challenge, and most importantly, anywhere I go, I'm going to say this: the team that I'm working with, I'm the only Muslim on that team, and the only Northerner on that team.
Wow!
And that was one of the driving force for me to actually
do better.
And so that was
it.
BBC. No.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thank
I'm
you.
just knowing. So I'm saying congratulations. I'm super excited for you that you've landed yourself this role, and it was all because you've put the work in. Because if you don't put the work in, you wouldn't get to where you are today.
Absolutely.
So now let's see balance between work and family.
This is a very,
Yeah, now that you've got a role in Lagos. All right, it's a dicey topic.
Yeah, so it's a very dicey topic to talk about because I think for women, young women like us, it's particularly very difficult having a family and then doing the work that you do, something that you love so much, something that you've nurtured for so long. And then I think what I've learned over the years is sometimes we don't know these things, but finding a partner who knows what you want, who knows the love you have for the things that you do, and who is willing to support you, who loves his job as well, because that is very important, because he loves his job and he knows that you love what you're doing. I think it's very, very important for us.
Very. I think on a scale of 1 to 10, it should be 10.
Yes.
10 over 10,
Yes, because at the end of the day, when issues start to prop up, and then there's complaints here and there, and all the naggy, countenance comes up, you always find the balance, and then just try to make your partner understand that this is where you're coming from, and then just be my support system. And then I think that's the only way, because our work is very demanding.
It is.
But a lot of people don't see that because they don't know how it works.
They don't.
I remember that someday, somebody said to me that, so Zainab, yanzu kawai magana kike kawai a biya ki, So I was like, okay, what do you mean? Do you want to try it? And he was like, no, I just feel it's a job for the faint. I was like, you should try it and see how that works. You know, people see that maybe it's not really a big deal, you know, to work in the media, but it is very tasking.
It is.
Mentally, it can be damaging at some point. Psychologically, you can lose yourself at some point. Emotionally.
Spiritually.
Yeah. So I think above all, finding a partner who is willing to support you is the most important thing. Apart from just supporting you, somebody that knows that regardless of whatever the person hears outside, because there is that too, you know, in an environment where you mix up with men and women. Sometimes you go on assignments with men, you meet different kind of people, and then people see that and then they say, well, this person is wayward even though she's married, you know, and all of that. But sometimes I don't blame them. Some of our ladies sell us out.
Absolutely. I will just give you a brief gist. Recently, like maybe about 2 months ago, a colleague walked into another female colleague with one of the guys. They went for a workshop on the workshop laying in bed naked, and she's a married woman.
So these are some of the things.
I tell you, this guy is my colleague in the English service, and he said, I'm sorry. That is why women would not be trusted on this job. So, yeah. Go on.
It's quite sad, you know. I feel we should also be given the opportunity, you know, to fly, to thrive, to do the things that we love. For ourselves, you know, to be financially independent.
Absolutely, financial independence. I always tell people that it's not about just you. For instance, like for myself, my dad passed away in 2020, and maybe most of the things that my dad used to do that we don't even see that, oh, this man does all of this. The responsibility is now on us, the kids, you know. So when I look, I'm like, no. So I don't want to be that liability on anyone, that my mom will need something because I'm not financially okay to do it. I will ask. When I ask today, tomorrow, next tomorrow, you will get tired and you would even start disrespecting my mom or something. So I think financial independence, whoever, wherever, find a way to just make money.
Absolutely, because
the legal way.
Yes, legal way.
Yeah.
Because I also feel we're helping the men too as well, you know, because when you know that at least your partner does something, at least you'll be able to take care of herself and do some nice things for your kids too, you know, and then just find a way to create that balance and just grow the family together at the end of the day. So I think it's very important that women are also allowed, you know, to thrive.
Absolutely.
And okay, I have a son, and I would say it was particularly difficult for me, you know, in his early years, working and also like nursing and just taking care of him. At the end of the day, I had a cesarean, and it was difficult healing and all of that. But the person that's helped me through it is my mom. Thank God she's alive.
Alhamdulillah.
She has seriously, she has always been there, you know, when I'm stressed out and I was like, okay, there's work for me to do, and she'd be like, you should just get him over. And then he got used to her, and I didn't have to worry even when he was growing, so I always leave him with her and all of that. And so I think that also helped me.
The support from your family.
Very, very tasking.
Wow, that's a lot. I think I was going to go into the question of managing baby too at the job. Now I'm sure that you've gotten quite a number of opportunities that propelled you to where you are today. So can you just tell us briefly about your experience with the 3 months you did in the US?
Okay. Well, it was something different for me. After getting the ICFG award, I submitted an entry for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which we did last year. And it was mind-boggling for me, actually even making it to the interview stage, because I never saw that coming. And then and it was because of the Almajiri story I did.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the reasons why I actually got in. And then we had the interview, and then they said, okay, you've been selected, you'll be traveling to the US. I was like, oh my God. And I think it's one of the one of the most exciting experience of my life. Because prior to even going for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the program I was doing at Viewer TV before I left for Trust TV, it was called The Scoop with Zainab. And then on that program, it was a TV program initially, but the TV station could not fund it. So I had to do the funding myself. So I had to pay the videographer. I had to, sometimes when we go to some of these communities, you have to tip them. You know, all of that. They'll be like, okay, was I gonna for free? So we had to do that as well. But because I loved doing it, I didn't see it as anything.
Burden, no.
So when I left Viewer TV, I was finding a way, okay, how do I continue this? I really want to continue this program. And then I said, okay, let me just make it a digital thing. And so we started putting out stories, we reach out to communities, people, and then they just talk about their experiences, some of the things that they want from the government, and all of that. And then we'll put it out on social media. And then some of the responses that we got was very, very interesting and calming for me. A lot of people will reach out and be like, okay, Zainab, I would like to donate to this person. Okay, Zainab, I would like to give a scholarship to this child. And all of that. And I was like, okay, wow, I think this is very interesting. Giving back in a whole different kind of way. And then through that, I said, okay, I don't know how to do this thing. It looks like an NGO, but it's also journalism. How do I put them together?
Right.
I didn't have that idea. All I knew was, okay, I was just putting out stories and people were responding. And so the Mandela Washington Fellowship gave me an opportunity to know what to do next.
Wow.
It opened my eyes to how you can do journalism for community development, to some of the things that I had already started. So I got to meet professors in that field who could help me, create great pitches to send to funders, to donors, and all of that. And from that moment, when I was in the US, that was when I registered my NGO.
Wow.
So it was now, we had to battle with CAC and all of that. And then we turned it to the Scoop Storytelling Initiative. And then, as I was learning, I was trying to improve before I even came back. Yeah. So I registered it, and then we have the document, we put an account and everything. And then I'm really glad that people are beginning to know. Initially, it was difficult for me to try to explain, and people were like, okay, what's that storytelling? What are you saying? And all of that. And you try to explain. But I'm really glad that, particularly the International Center for Journalists, International Women's Media Foundation, the US Embassy have been very supportive. And I'm really glad that we are growing gradually. We have volunteers, mostly they're students, that will just say, okay, I want to be part of this. I say, can you do a report? I'll be like, no. And they're, okay, we'll just learn through the process. And then from wherever they are within the country, they're sending in some few things, and then we are putting them out on social media. Wow. And so for me, being in the US, I think it was a career-changing opportunity for me. And also getting an extra, because not everybody got to do the internship, extra 1 month internship in Washington, D.C. So that also gave me an opportunity to see how they work, how they plan, how they do things seamless.
Yes, not because they're master planners,
Not like the way we do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like sometimes we make things difficult for us.
Really? Yes, that's true. So because it's easy to access whoever it is on the topmost ladder of any career path, and there won't be any hassle of there is the protocol you need to follow. You need to write a letter. You need to go through this process for another 3 months before you get to see this person. That's just the difference. Because when you're exposed to this international organizations or you've got schooling, you see that it seems you're just suffering back. May Allah continue to make it easy. So how is it like with the foundation?
Okay, I would say that the first grant I got was about, I think, $7,000.
Okay.
From the International Center for Journalists, and it was a story that we did on child labor.
Okay.
Particularly girls, housemates that they bring from other states to work in the capital city. And so we're able to do that and then utilize the money to pay other people, within the organization and everything. But most of the work that we've been doing are individually funded, donations from people, and just trying to say, okay, we'd like to donate to you, we like the work that you're doing and all of that, to help us just scale up and reach other areas within Nigeria. And so we're now looking at just trying to build as a local NGO, gradually, grow and then reach out to stakeholders just to help support and then support the kind of work that you do at the end of the day.
Okay,
yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
More grace.
Thank you.
So I know that there are lots of people that apparently are looking for mentorship or trying to say, Sister Zainab or Auntie Zainab, I want to be under you, I want to understudy you.
Right.
In what ways are you dealing with such requests?
I've had a couple of people. I'm still having people reaching out to say, well, I like the work that you do. How do I learn from you and all of that? And I think over the years, like right now at the moment, I have over 20 young, particularly young women who want to do journalism. Sometimes we have virtual classes.
Absolutely.
Since that has made a lot of things easy. You don't have to travel to Sokoto, to do things like that.
Yeah.
So we do virtual classes. Sometimes we speak over email, we chat over WhatsApp, we do things like that. And then sometimes just commission, okay, from what you've learned, can you do a story like this? Could you reach out to certain people to talk to them or to interview them or to do things like this? And then we use some of those things and put it out on social media. And when they see, they'll be like, oh, that was me. I was so
Yeah.
And so it gives you that fulfillment that at least you've passed that knowledge to another person. And that person also
and it expands your own cost to you. Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing that we should have more of that mentorship, particularly for our girls in northern Nigeria.
MashaAllah. Yeah. So what's that one thing that keeps you going every time? Like, when you're overwhelmed on the job, sometimes you feel like, can I continue or something? So what's that thing that keeps you going on the job?
I think it's a mixed feeling for me. The job can be overwhelming. Mentally, sometimes it can be damaging as well. But I think this is the part where journalists, particularly African journalists, should prioritize mental health and also invest, in mental health, because this will also help us create a balance, work-life balance at the end of the day. Because I think we don't really talk much.
We don't talk much about work-life. Yeah, absolutely.
For journalists, and all of that. And so when I feel like I'm burning out, I just stop.
Take a break.
I just stop. At first, I didn't understand the cue that I was burning out. And then I'll be like, okay, I just have to do this. I just have to make it work. But it's not working. I can't think well. I can't be creative. I can't do anything. So when I feel like I'm burning out, I just stop. And then maybe go out or do something that you love to do, leisure, not work, something different.
Oh, wow.
And then the financial part is very
important.
And so when I'm saying, okay, I need to chill, I need to calm myself down, and then I think about, okay, we need money, we need to keep working, and all of that. That also gives me a boost. And when you know that there are other people that you need to feed, dependent that you need to take care of at the end of the day, that also
keeps you going.
Yeah, it keeps you going. But most importantly, the fact that you're doing this for community.
That is the joy you derive from it.
Fulfillment and say, okay, I'm doing this for my community. I'm doing this. For instance, when I go out and then I do a story, and then there's a story I did. I think that was the first impact story I've ever done when I was in Viewer TV. It was a community on the mountaintop. I think it was in Caterpillar, where I never knew that there were people living on that mountain. So we went for a hike, and then I saw 1,000 people living in huts. So I wanted to ask and say, okay, how comes you guys live here? How do you go down this mountain every day? there's no light, there's no water, there's nothing. And then they have children and all of that. And then I decided to do that story. And then somebody saw it and they reached out to them. They have water, they have light now,
oh my God,
and
mashallah.
they give them supplies and all of that. And then when I saw it, I smiled. I was like, oh
yeah, I'm also smiling too,
I do something nice for somebody, and it gives you that fulfillment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think for us as journalists, that keeps you going.
That keeps you going. Absolutely. Yeah. Well done. Kudos. And so where do you see yourself in a couple of years?
Okay. I see myself not working full-time for any organization in the future. I see myself just concentrating on building the school, and then reaching out and bringing people on board, to help grow that NGO. I also see myself creating a hub, for particularly young women, northern women, just to come together to learn journalism and then know which area do I fit in, what do I do, who do I reach out to help me grow, who will support me, and all of those things. And so for me, I think that's where I want to
May Allah make it easy for you. I'm already seeing that woman at the top of the ladder. Well done. And lastly, your message to this young aspiring journalists that are already thinking of quitting because of the demand from the job.
Well, my message to young aspiring journalists is don't be afraid, don't be scared, don't let anything deter you. One thing I realized about journalism in Africa, particularly Nigeria, is that there's not much welfare for journalists, and so that alone is demeaning. It wouldn't give you that zeal to want to work, to do journalism. And then there's also, because there's no welfare for journalism, journalists are pushed, to engage in some unethical things, and that is also demeaning for us as journalists. But I think what has kept me going is, just like I said earlier, when you have passion for the thing that you do,
that's the feel.
You want to keep doing it, and at the end of the day, the money will come. I've seen that happen. At first sometimes I had to take loan, and pay.
Same.
Yeah, I had to take loan to pay for people, either videographers or who's going to do the editing. And because I didn't want to pay money, I learned editing. So I edit my stuff, I film my stuff, I do my things. But sometimes you just have to give somebody, somebody to do it. But learn as much as you can learn, and no matter how it is, start small. I think that's what I've learned. I've wanted to have an NGO, a kind of innovative journalism project for years, but I've never had a roadmap of how to do it. I just know that I want to do something like this. But I'm glad today that as I was growing, I was learning, how do I do this? How am I supposed to do this? And all of that. So I think the message is, no matter how it is, just start. Don't stop. Don't stop and say, okay, let everything be perfect before I start, or I have to get this before I do this. I think it's just to start, no matter how small it is, and then continue to push.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is so inspiring to talk to you. I think I've learned a lot during the course of the conversation. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in your new role. And I believe so much that we'll do a lot of things together, inshallah. And on this note, we call it a wrap on Connect the Dot this week. We've had this conversation with Mrs. Zainab Bala, an award-winning journalist, and I knew we didn't talk about award as much, but she's won a lot of award, and I'm super grateful and glad that a young northern Nigerian woman is achieving a lot, even though there is the stereotype around, oh, you can't do this, they can't speak good English, they can't be in this role, and all of that. Alhamdulillah for all the progress recorded. See you again next week, and it's Ding Ding Connect the Dot.